Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Sweet and Sour Soccer. Let me just start by addressing the elephant in the room for our regulars. You're probably thinking, where is James? Why does he let this idiot, this fool, this clown do Premier League predictions? Firstly, James is fine, but you are stuck with me this week. So please show me the same love that you usually show, James. Hit that like button. And if you're new here and thinking, what the hell's going on? Hit that subscribe button too. I'm sure you'll get to meet James very soon. And what a great incentive to hit that subscribe button. There's 10 massive fixtures in the Premier League this game's week, so let's waste no more time. Let's jump straight into them as we do get to the business end of the season. And we start off with Leicester City taking on Leeds United. Leeds United, of course, got their new manager, Jesse Marsch, who historically in his other managerial appointments has played a 4-2-2-2 formation. But it's going to be hard to do that when you look at Leeds' lack of senior strikers at the moment in the squad, of course, with Bamford injured as well as other striker injuries. And it might be hard to implement that. So it's really a guessing game of what he's going to do. But one thing I'm sure Leeds fans will want from him is to shore up that defence. They've come against a Leicester side that has only won one in the last 5. And the last 2 results at home have been a draw. And I think I'm going to follow that up with a third draw. Let's make it a third draw on the road at home for Leicester. I am going to go for a 1-1 draw in this game. We come on to Burnley versus Chelsea. And Burnley, to be fair, 7 points in the last 5, which isn't a bad returns at all, as they obviously hope to stay within the Premier League. Chelsea, on the other hand, they've not really played too many league games recently, but have certainly recovered from that drop of form that saw them fall away from the Premier League title race, but on the way in the last month, they have picked up the World Club Championship, which I'm sure they'll be buzzing about. And of course, the club is now up for sale. Chelsea have actually scored 2 goals per game nearly. When you look at Burnley, who have scored 0.88 per game, there's no surprise here, but I am actually going to go for a Chelsea victory, and I am going to go for a 2-1 Chelsea victory in this game. Coming on to Villa versus Southampton. Villa have had a real mixed bag of results, to be honest. 2 wins, 2 losses and a draw, I believe, in the last 5. They're pretty much doing everything. Southampton, on the other hand, have been in fantastic form. And you could argue if they really step things up, they could even have a bit of an outside chance of sneaking into Europe if they really did go on a really incredible run towards the end of the season. When you look at the head-to-head in this fixture, it's a really interesting one because Villa have only actually won once of the last 10 games versus Saints. But when you look at Southampton's away form this season, they've only picked up 1 point per game away from home, which I suppose has been the real unsettler and maybe just boosting them a little bit more up the table. I think I am going to back another 1-1 draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw on this one. And I do think that Southampton will keep up that regular 1 point per game away from home. We come on to Norwich versus Brentford, and Brentford will be absolutely gutted after their loss to Newcastle. Of course, it pulled Newcastle out of the relegation picture almost, and Brentford are almost slipping into it. Norwich, of course, are very much in it as well. They've lost their last 3 games in a row, and they definitely need to win this. This is a must win for Norwich if they are to stay in the Premier League for me, because they really need to drag Brentford into that. It's going to be a hard one. Ericsson obviously coming back, but Brentford have lost the last 5 games away from home. I am going to give it to Brentford though. I am going to go for a 2-1 victory, and I think it'll be a massive, massive win for Brentford. We come on to Newcastle versus Brighton. And of course, I've just spoken about Newcastle. It almost feels like their name can almost be took out of the relegation chat now. They're probably only a couple more wins away from solidifying that talk in terms of not talking about them going down. They've done absolutely brilliantly. 4 wins in their last 5 Premier League games. Brighton, on the way hand, their away form is actually a lot better than their home form. They've achieved 1.46 points away from home, and they've only suffered 2 losses all season. But of course, we do know that Newcastle's ground is a very hard place to go to. So I'm a bit tied on this one. I'm going to give it Brighton, though. I am going to give a 2-1 victory to Brighton. I think just based on how good their away form has been this season, which would be obviously a defeat to Newcastle, who they've not experienced many defeats recently. Wolves versus Crystal Palace next. My team, Wolverhampton Wanderers, our European hopes perhaps starting to slide away. 2 big defeats to Arsenal and obviously West Ham last week put that into a bit of dismay. And of course, we are lacking Semedo, who is out for 4 to 8 weeks. So there's a big hole to fill on that right-hand side. Crystal Palace, on the other hand, 1 win in the last 5. Only 2 wins away from home all season. They'll definitely be wanting to improve that. Palace this season have been a lot more prolific in the second half, actually, when you look at their goal scoring in the first half versus the second. When it comes to this game, I think Wolves are really going to want to bounce back after their 2 defeats. And I don't see us losing this one. I am going to go for a 2-1 win, especially considering Palace's away form. We come on to Liverpool versus West Ham, and Liverpool are definitely back within that title chase now. And West Ham did really well picking up the result against my club, Wolverhampton Wanderers, to put themselves in a really good position in the European discussion and keep their top 4 hopes alive. Both clubs will want to keep some momentum going. Neither will want to slip up and pick up the loss. Look, it's going to be hard for West Ham. They've not actually won at Anfield since August 2015. So not been a good run on their travels. But look, if Liverpool win their game in hand as well, they'll only be 3 points off City. And I think they will be wanting to keep that momentum going. I don't think it's going to be an easy win, but I do think Liverpool will pick up the win. I am going to go for a 2-1 Liverpool prediction. We come on to Watford versus Arsenal, and Arsenal are very much in that top 4 position now. You could probably argue that they're maybe the favourites out of the rest of the bunch to make that 4th position after recent results. The thing is with Arsenal, and it's the same every year, their away form has been dismal compared to their home form. They've actually lost as many as they've won at home this season in the Premier League. Watford, on the other hand, did pick up a really good result against Manchester United, but 10 of their 13 home games have resulted in a loss, and they've only actually won 2. Is this classed as a derby? It's a London derby, but I don't think, it's not like a massive derby. But I am going to go for an Arsenal win with this one, and I do think it'll be a quite convincing 3-0 win for Arsenal. Now, this is a massive game. The Manchester derby in form goes out the window when you're talking about derbies. 2 teams that really do need the points. Man City will be hoping to keep on their hopes of the Premier League title and maybe even pull a bit of a gap on Liverpool, or just at least make sure they're not putting under any further pressure from Liverpool. Manchester United, on the other hand, we know they need results if they're wanting to get into the top 4. An interesting one here, because City are overdue a win at home against Manchester United. The last 5 times they've met, there's been 2 wins, 2 wins each and a draw. But when you actually look at the away form when Manchester United go to the Etihad, it's been much better pickings. I believe it's been 4 or 5 games since the last time that Manchester United actually Manchester City picked up a win against United at home. But I do think they're going to pick up the win this time round, and I'm going to say a 2-1 prediction here for Manchester City to beat United. Coming on to our last game, it's Tottenham Hotspurs versus Everton. Both teams really need a win, and I'm sure Frank Lampard, with his Chelsea connection, will be really wanting to do over Tottenham, to be honest. Conte's in a bit of disarray with his Tottenham team, obviously not performing at the moment. Questions around whether he's the right man for Tottenham in terms of he's asking the questions. I think that's just his way of getting out, and it really isn't going too well, is it, for him at the moment? Spurs really need to pick up some momentum. I do think there'll be goals in this one. I think it'll be an interesting game. Everton really need the win as well as Tottenham do. Everton don't want to be dragged any further into that relegation scrap. But I do think the points will be shared. And my final prediction is a 2-2 draw on this one. Guys, if you've enjoyed this video and made it to the end, make sure to hit that like button. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Let me know your predictions in the comments as well. And hopefully I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.